Welcome to the Project, the podcast with the mission to cover every project throughout pop culture and history. I'm Sam.
And I'm Lewis.
And this week we are talking about the White Rabbit Project episode, Crazy World War II Weapons.
Yeah, the third episode we've covered. The first two, I think the concept's good, but maybe there's other parts that we weren't too big a fan of.
Yeah, you have to go back and find out exactly what or who we weren't a fan of. We will have some engagement from some of those people on social media, so we won't say anything too specific until we talk about it later on.
We may have been specific enough already if they listen.
But it's a fun little time, wasn't it? We've got a couple other bits to talk about as well. We've got time codes if you want to skip straight to personal projects, where we will be talking about a couple of different films and stuff we've been watching.
Yeah,
I went to the cinema to see The Menu with Anya Taylor-Joy, Ralph Fiennes, and Nicholas Holtz.
Nice.
So you can tune into that and see what I think about that.
I saw the brand new Netflix film Troll.
Oh, did you? I was planning on watching that. Okay, I'm excited to hear what you thought about that later. I also saw See How They Run, which was the Agatha Christie inspired thing that's just gone on to Disney Plus.
Nice.
I think it's also in the cinemas as well, so save yourself a bit of dollar on that. And I finally got round to watching James Bond No Time to Die as well.
Have you not seen it?
I haven't seen
it. Oh my god.
Was that this year or was that last year?
I think it was this year.
It might have been this year. I don't know. But before we get into that, how are you today, Lewis?
Yeah, I'm pretty good. I feel like I've been really, really busy recently. And I think it's partly because work's been busy. It's getting to that time of year where there's lots of deadlines and stuff. But then also when I'm not at work, there's so much football to watch.
You're watching every single bit of football.
Yes, every single bit of football. I mean, it's Thursday today at time of recording.
Yeah.
Today and yesterday was the first break in football.
You were like, oh, thank fuck.
Part of me was like, what do I do with myself? Then also it was like, yeah, it's nice to just kind of sit.
You can watch some Avatar and White Rabbit Project.
Yeah, that is what I did. But yeah, it's been very busy, but it's also, it's coming to an end. It's Christmas in a couple of weeks and we can put our feet up and drink and eat chocolate and food and
and relax.
So that will be nice. And obviously I won't have to watch any darn projects for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, those darn projects. That would be a rename, those darn projects.
No. But how are you, Sam?
Yeah, I'm all right. Yeah, not been watching much of the football. I've been watching some of the key games that I would see as key games, the England games. I watch them all from the comfort of my home. But I think plan is to go watch we're not going to watch it in person.
No.
We'll go watch it at a venue. So that'll be good fun over the weekend.
Hopefully I won't listen back to this episode and be all sad thinking about that.
Yeah, we won't go into it too much. Yeah, although it'll be only a couple of days after that it comes out, so everyone will know exactly what happened.
Yeah,
but I'm good. Yeah, work's been busy as well. It's incredibly cold in the south of England at the moment.
Cold.
Just chugging along, having a great time.
Yeah, nice.
So speaking of chugging along, what's that first segment, Lewis?
Project news.
Wow.
Is that particularly train-esque?
The train is here.
Okay.
All aboard Project News.
So I've got two bits of Project News, which are both related to stuff we've talked about in the past.
Oh, that's good.
One more detail than the other, and one of them is something to look forward to.
Ooh.
So the first one is from the very reputable source that everybody loves called the Daily Mail. You may have heard of it.
I actually prefer the Daily Female.
Some people nicknamed it the Daily Hail. H-E-I-L. Oh, stunned spicy. The headline is Scarlett Johansson transforms into a 60s siren as she works with Channing Tatum on new movie Project Artemis.
Oh, wow. So yeah, because we heard about this before, didn't we?
Because it was going to be Chris Evans. It was going to be directed by Jason Bateman.
That's right.
But basically, some pictures of Scarlett Johansson and Channing Tatum on set have come out.
Okay.
Very 60s. She's got very 60s style hair. He's got like a blue polo on. It's not much detail, but it's clear that they are filming filming this.
I've got the actual exact article you're talking about right here.
Yes, it's going to be like a 60s thing. They haven't released much details about it.
Yeah. Did we find when we looked at it before? I think the speculation was that it was related to like a NASA thing, but was that completely coincidental? Maybe. I suppose 60s makes sense.
And like Project Artemis is a title.
Yeah. Although I think Project Artemis might have been like a current NASA thing, so maybe.
Okay.
But maybe she's like called Artemis, and it's like making her a star. You know, it's like she's the project.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Yeah.
But so that's just that is filming, and we will almost certainly cover that when it comes out.
Yeah.
Unless we're both dead.
Well, yeah. I mean, if we're both dead, it probably won't happen. So. If one of us is dead, maybe we'll just get someone else on for that episode.
The remaining one and our chosen successor, Father Christmas.
It's the Kaiser Soze moment there. Santa Tree Man. Snowman?
Is it The Simpsons or something where they do that and somebody just says their own name by looking around things in the room?
Yeah.
It sounds very Simpsons.
I think there's something where it's like George Glass. It's just there's a glass on the table or something.
But the other bit of project news I've got is from Collider.
Ooh.
And that is the Lazarus project sets US premiere date.
Okay.
So obviously we spent a lot of this summer watching the Lazarus project. Probably one of the better things we've watched. We had great fun with it.
Yeah, fantastic.
And we talked about how it was going to America, which American listeners out there, if you are new to the podcast, you can watch that and listen to our recaps.
Yeah, when's the date? Might put a little sneaky tweet out when it comes out.
Yeah, it's Monday, January the 23rd, 2023.
Okay. January 23rd. Here's a little Google reminder for myself.
It's on TNT.
Okay.
TNT recently had success with Snowpiercer.
Right. Okay. That was on Netflix in the UK, I think.
Yeah, I think it
so.
was.
I never watched it, but yeah.
But yeah, they're hoping that the Lazarus project will be their next big thing. And do you know what? If people watch it, they'll like it.
Yeah.
It's good.
I mean, regardless of whether it gets us any coverage or not, the fact that it will get a slightly more international audience it bodes well for season 2 as well,
and they're filming season 2 at the moment.
Absolutely.
So
cool.
And hopefully some bigger budget stuff.
So
that could be quite fun. So that's just an update on that bit of news. I feel like I've talked about the Lazarus project both before and after in project news a lot. It's probably, and we covered all, what was it, 10 episodes? Or was it 8 episodes?
I think it was 8 in the end. Yeah,
it's probably a good.
We should know that, really, shouldn't we?
Like probably nearly a quarter of our podcast that featured talking about that show
pretty
at some
much,
point.
Yeah, at least one. And if you count the
the Paul Walker film.
I was gonna say Paul Weller. He wasn't in that.
Paul Walker film.
It's a musical.
But yes, that is the project news for the week.
Woo!
Which means we can go straight into our main topic. White Rabbit Project. So we watched, as you said, Crazy World War II Weapons.
We did.
This is a Netflix series. It's a spin-off of Mythbusters with some of the backing cast from Mythbusters getting their own show. It is Kari Byron, Tory Bellici, and the late great Grant Imahara. And they got their own show. It was cancelled after one season on Netflix, but there's 10 episodes. So it is something.
It's something. There's definitely some good stuff to be said about it.
I think the concept of it is really
Concept's
fun.
Good.
So what we did superheroes and prison escape.
Prison breaks, jail breaks, or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. And
so it's kind of looking at, I think even their description says something about pop culture and history, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So it has a little bit of a crossover with us, and it's kind of more looking at things that have happened and kind of testing and supposedly replicating them, although a lot of the time
they don't
replicate them, and they do like one physical project throughout. And I think that's the thing that we've kind of disliked the most, is that they do a lot of talking and a lot of infographics and showing and some kind of somewhat funny dramatizations in the middle, some more than others.
This one had a really interesting one that
it goes straight into it. So we'll be talking about that in the next couple of minutes.
Before we do, the series has got a 6.9 on IMDb. What do you reckon this episode is?
I think because of some of the, incredibly funny, tasteful dramatizations that they do in it, that, not at all dated or, slightly weird opinions there. I think it's probably like a 7.2.
Oh, close. It's a 7.0.
Again, within 0.2, I'm getting better.
One day.
I was going to do 6.9, just copying the thing.
But yeah, so we start with Hitler.
We do, yeah.
And it's Hitler doing one of his speeches, and they talk about how he had 40 attempts on his life.
Yeah, and there's a dramatization where they're like, it's like British, like, special for super intelligence
scientists
or whatever, and they're like, this is all the ways we've tried to kill him, and they would like bullets, and then they show pictures of bullets, and they're like poison, and it's like a picture of some poison. I'm like, this is not how it would work. They don't need to show these skilled agents the pictures of
what does bullets look like.
It's literally like Getty Images, like bullets. And they're basically it's all the failed attempts, isn't it? Yeah.
But they go into saying he's no Superman, he's a super male.
Yes. So the science of this, I don't think checks out particularly. They seem to think, or at least the scientists in World War II seemingly thought, the Allied forces, that Hitler was so aggressive and warmongering because he had an excess of testosterone.
Yeah, there's a really weird angle on this where they talk about what the scientists thought at the time, and they nearly acknowledge that it's outdated, but they don't. They seem to just think the same, and I'm like, these opinions are quite outdated, right? And they don't seem to, particularly when we get into this a bit more.
There's a point where they say, like, scientists thought that chemicals controlled everything in the body in the day, and it's like, well, they kind of do, but you're not correcting the misconception there. And there's also some, I don't know too much about testosterone production and that sort of thing, but they acknowledge the myth, whether it was a myth or not, of him having one testicle. And I'm pretty sure that testicles have something to do with testosterone production. So there seems to be a bit of a glaring contrast, even from what they've told us.
And it seems to be the more testosterone, the more manly you are.
Well, that's it as well. So the plan is they've got people on the inside that have tried to poison him, but the food testers who taste the food before him always die, so the poison never gets to Hitler.
Yeah.
They're like, what can we do that kind of works with this? And they say we can dose his food with estrogen, and then he will become less aggressive, basically, is the overall thing. But the thing is, the base kind of criticism here is that it is possible for women to be both aggressive, warmongering, and, in quotes, evil. So
they get into this
they do the criteria as well, don't they? Should we go through that?
They stop here, and then they say, we're doing the 6 craziest weapons.
Oh yeah, they do. They put a picture up on the World War II slideshow, and they're like, we can turn her Hitler into her Hitler. Yeah. And it's like a Photoshop
They really
picture
liked that pun.
where it's got Hitler with like boobs and like long hair and like lipstick on.
Yeah.
And all the people are like, woo! And then it cuts to the guys watching it, the host, and Tory's like, I don't think I'm ready to go down that rabbit hole. And it's like, oh, so that's what the white rabbit thing is. They don't really explain that. We also get like an intro before this that I don't think we ever had before. Like a full, like, we're in a lab, we're all doing stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe we did have it, but
it's quite cool, the intro.
It's quite cool, yeah.
But yeah, they're looking, they want to find out, they've got 6 of the strangest weapons. They want to find out the craziest. And they've got 3 criteria, which are, how long was the project live for?
Yeah.
How well did it work? And how crazy was it? Which is such a subjective thing, which basically means they can put them in whatever order they want.
That's basically it. And we had different criteria for the previous 2 episodes, but it was similar things. And we kind of pretty basically disagreed with the rankings. I imagine we can do our own little rankings at the end of this. But yeah, it cuts back to the Hitler thing, and they explain the estrogen in the food, and they show that the person who's testing it is seemingly always a woman, or at least in this case.
Yeah, and they talk about the estrogen being like, it's going to be tasteless and slow to act. And they're like, after a month, his empathy will increase.
Powers of compassion and empathy increase. He may have maternal instincts.
Yeah, right.
And then we get that.
And get a bit where like he's sitting at dinner with the German soldiers, one of them blows their nose, and he like puts a tissue to their
He's
thing.
like, "Have you got a cold?" But like it's in German.
And I was like, this is sexist, right?
Yes. This is when I've written that there couldn't possibly be an evil woman.
Yeah. So it's basically saying like women are all like weak and caring and men are angry brutes.
Yes.
Like, and if we make Hitler a woman, then she'll be all maternal and friendly. And it's like,
it's
what?
both.
And like they kind of mentioned this is what they believe at the time, but then they act as if that's what they also believe.
I feel like it's both sexist and kind of transphobic as well at the same time.
Yeah, and it's also a bit later on where he's kind of, I think it's just after this, they're saying several months will be less aggressive. And then he's like, Hitler's like staring at this German soldier and like blows him a kiss. And I was like, oh, so it's sexist, transphobic, and homophobic?
So literally they're saying that estrogen makes you gay.
Yeah, and you know,
or at least, if you're a woman, then you're not gay.
Gay people are feminine, and you can't have a manly, like testosterone-filled gay man because that's
just not, you know. Yeah, it's super. When's this from? Like 2016. Yeah, so it's not exactly.
They can't use the excuse of it's like, oh, it's the 50s and this is what we believe.
Well, they should use that excuse because the stuff they're doing is from the late 40s. But yeah, they get a professor on it, Brian Ford, I think I've written down here.
Yeah, he comes up later on.
He's just there like expert on this crazy stuff.
They go to him a lot of World War II stuff.
Yeah.
His actual profession is he's a biologist and an author.
Oh, fuck's sake.
Like, he's got less qualifications to talk about this than we do.
Yes. That is factually correct. Yes.
And he's the specialist. You couldn't find any historian.
No.
There is literally thousands, maybe millions of World War II historians.
Yes.
And you get a biologist.
It's easily one of the most popular fields of historical study.
Yeah.
Especially in like pop history, you know.
Oh, yeah.
It's that or the Tudors for England, isn't it?
Yeah. And then Romans.
Romans, third place. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, well, they're Americans. So they've replaced the Tudors with the American Revolution.
Yeah.
And you hit the jackpot.
Civil War as well.
But, and it says author. So I imagine he's written some books about
probably
this, maybe
called like Crazy World War II Weapons.
But he's not a historian.
No. Although they subvert that a little bit by just being like, he's a professor. He knows what he's talking about. He studied this. And it's like, we've all studied it now, technically, from watching this shitty episode.
Yeah.
There's a line that he quotes from the Allied scientist that was, take away his mustache and give him breasts.
I also wrote that down.
Because we do see... Oh, that's a bit later. But we do see a point. Oh, what we're talking about now.
Yeah, Brian Ford says it was certainly possible, and he makes the point, which is fair enough, that it was logical in the 40s,
right?
Which they kind of brush over,
and they're like, "Yeah, but it's funny, right? A man with breasts."
Yeah, and then we get a reenactment, and we've got Hitler with big breasts.
Well, no, before so he's walking along in a field. And it's black and white, and he sees a flower on the floor, and he picks it up, and he smells the flower and has like a moment of contemplation. Yeah. And the color, like it's like Wizard of Oz style, seeps in, and he's like, and then he looks down and sees he's got big breasts, and somehow his clothes have kind of changed to fit them. Yeah. And then it turns into Sound of Music, and he starts singing to himself and spinning around in a circle.
That's another thing. Is it not? Like, the Sound of Music is about a Jewish family escaping the Nazis. Mm-hmm. Is it not a bit disrespectful to have Hitler replacing the main woman in the Sound of Music?
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
When I saw it, I was like, they're not. Like, Hitler having big breasts. Okay, haha, that's funny.
That's why they feel they can do it, because it's like someone that everyone agrees is evil, bad guy.
But doing the Sound of Music, I was like, I'm not sure about this.
I think they were probably like, it's World War II. There's a connection, but they didn't really like think about who it might upset or anyone's feelings or they kind of go on to be like, oh, but in reality it would have upset his hormone balance.
Yeah, Brian Ford said it could make him more aggressive, and we see him like throwing up, and it's like he give him nausea and headaches.
And then we see another bit where he's in a little recreation. He goes and looks in the mirror, and he looks and sees the breasts then. So it's like a more realistic version, supposedly, of what would happen. And he goes, first one ball, now 2 breasts. And he's like, duh. And then his like girlfriend tries to like initiate sex with him.
And he's like, his manhood limps away.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's
Kari goes, oh dude, he would have been so mad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But fortunately that's the end of that first segment.
Yeah.
And so the stats were it lasted for 0 days. They never actually contemplated doing this.
No.
How well would it work? 0 out of 10 because it's pseudoscience. But how crazy? 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
So crazy.
A man with both mustaches and boobs.
A man becoming a woman. What? That's crazy.
Yeah.
I'm glad this bit came to an end.
Yeah, I was like, I mean, it was certainly different to what we've seen before, but and
then they move on to the next bit, and we get something that the White Rabbit Project likes to do a lot, and they take a historical event and they spend a few minutes explaining it to us.
Yeah,
They talk about Pearl Harbor.
Yeah,
and it's like we're not even American, and we know Pearl Harbor. Americans. Celebrate. They
woo. Well, excuse to get into the war.
They have a remembrance of Pearl Harbor every year.
Yeah.
Who the fuck needs this history lesson?
They had the blockbuster film by Michael Bay as well.
Oh god, that's terrible.
I've never seen it.
It's the
Ben Affleck.
Yeah, the opening like 20 minutes, half hour is really quite good because it starts with the bombing of Pearl Harbor, and that is shot.
So it doesn't
really
build
good.
up to it then, or does it?
No, it's kind of is that them on the base, and that happens, and that all looks really cool. It's almost like it. You can see it came out a few years after Saving Private Ryan, but then after that, it's just some like romance story of Ben Affleck, and it's you don't need to watch past that first 20 minutes.
Okay, well, I might look that up.
But yeah, they talk about
a dentist,
dentist. Lyle S. Adams.
Lyle Adams is what I've got too.
Yeah. And he plots to destroy Japan with bats.
Yes, they go like, after Pearl Harbor, 2 people declared war on Japan: the president and a dentist.
Yeah,
I quite like this one. I thought it was quite cool.
I thought it was
this is probably one of the more interesting ones because so basically the whole plot is the plot. This dentist, for some reason, has an obsession with bats. And his parents were killed in an alleyway not 40 years before. No, he has an obsession with bats. He knows they can carry 3 times their weight, and they nestle in dark places.
I think it's quite funny. Like they can carry 3 times their weight, which is a lot, but like it's not that exceptional for the animal kingdom. A lot of animals can do that.
Can carry much more than 3 times probably. But his plan is he sends his plans to the White House. Apparently he's friends with the First Lady, so they make some connections. And apparently they look into this, but the idea is to have a bomb that has 1,000 bats in it, and each bat has an incendiary device attached to it. So they would drop I've written 1 million bat bombs, but I think it's 1 million bats in the bombs.
No, they said 1 million bat bombs.
Okay.
And 1,000 bats in each one.
Fuck. Okay.
So
the idea,
1 billion bats.
They drop the bat bombs, and they don't explode initially. The bats just go and roost in all the houses, in the roofs of the houses. And then shortly after, the incendiary devices will go off and they'll burn down the city, which in itself is quite interesting. It's horrible. It's horrific. Yeah. But it's quite a kind of creative way of burning down lots of houses.
And it's fascinating that this plan needs you to sacrifice 1 billion bats.
Do they have 1 billion bats?
That's the first thing. Where'd you get and do you reckon everyone would just be okay with you blowing up 1 billion bats?
I mean, they did a lot of animal cruelty in World War II, didn't they?
Yeah.
And the years after.
And today.
And today. So, yeah, they say that when they tested it burnt down like a test range.
It burnt an airbase.
An airbase and a general's car or something like that.
Yeah.
So it kind of did. I don't think it was, as you'd expect, it wasn't controllable. And especially, why the fuck would they test that like on the home soil? Because the bat could fly miles. I mean, I guess there's a timer on it, but like,
yeah.
And then you see what it's called, Project X-ray.
Project X-ray. I quickly looked up, like, oh, could this be a report? But it's not. They basically say everything. We've got. There's another one later on that.
Yeah,
was also,
I think I put that.
And I was like, okay, yeah, it's good that they covered it, and then we don't have to do a full report on it.
They do. They like really breeze over the reason why it didn't.
Oh yeah,
get selected.
they're not doing because there was people working on another bomb,
and then you just see bats in a cave and like the sound of an atomic bomb blowing up, and it's like, I get that that's not the topic of this thing, but maybe at least name drop like.
Yeah,
the bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. It's good.
Yeah. But we get these.
It's very pro-American, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
They had to find a way to stop those damn Japanese.
Last time with the jailbreaks, there was a couple of like. There was the one where
there was a bit of a slightly verging on transphobic bit in that as well, wasn't there?
There often
is.
The
funniest one was a man wearing women's clothes to get out of.
Oh my god, it's so funny!
Oh, hilarious.
A man wearing women's clothes.
He would have gone to the wrong section in the shop. Can you fucking believe it?
When I did that bit earlier in Hitler, I was like, I've got a deja vu here.
Yeah,
because
that's the bingo for White Rabbit. Was there a superhero that?
Yeah, they had the bit where one of the greatest jailbreaks was somebody leaving East Germany. He wasn't in jail. He just fled East Germany, the world's biggest prison. But yeah, the stats for the bat bomb, it lasted for 2 years and 6 months.
Yeah,
so decent amount of time considering the war was 7 years long.
Yeah, exactly.
And for Americans, 4 years. So,
so most of that time they were.
Yeah, how well would it work? 8 out of 10 they gave it.
I mean,
they tested it and it failed.
But it failed, but it did burn down the surrounding area. So in that sense, I think it was slightly more like wild.
Yeah,
like a wild bat.
But you'd also need a hell of a lot of bats to make it worthwhile. Otherwise, you're just burning down a few buildings.
Yeah. I mean, and the thing is as well to get, because the whole point of like air raid, the whole issue with air raids is that the planes get shot down.
Yeah.
Which is kind of what they talk about in one of the next ones with the drops and stuff. So, yeah, it just logically, you might as well just be dropping incendiary devices on it if you're going over. You don't need the bats as well.
Yeah, it could work quite well. Probably wouldn't say an out of 10.
If they could get the bats to fly from one place to the place, that would work. Which is kind of what they tap into.
Maybe they could have trained some pigeons to do that.
Well, that's a crazy idea.
Well, this crazy idea was a 7 out of 10, apparently. And I was like, yeah.
It depends how you're scaling that because...
Yeah, it's purposely subjective, isn't it?
Because the thing is, like, if it's crazy, like, how wild is it? Not, like, how unrealistic is it? Then I would say it's higher on, like, that's an insane idea kind of thing. And even with, like... the Hitler one, like I wouldn't say 10 out of 10, but it's like it's a strange, wild idea.
I think this is probably more crazy than
it's much more outlandish because
bats
and the fact they call it bat bomb as well. I know that's just because it's like Batman, I guess, but. Yeah.
So on to the next one, and they're talking about sea battles, and they say the Nazis have got like guided missiles. The US then developed guided missiles, and they want to get super accurate missiles.
Yeah.
So they decide that they're gonna be steered by pigeons.
Yeah, Project Pigeon.
Yeah.
Not a very good code name, is it?
No, although it could be a really good code name because the Nazis would be like, "Oh, they've got a code name, Project Pigeon. What could it possibly mean? Are they making a new plane?"
In a way, yeah, because it's a bomb that has a capability of being driven, basically, isn't it?
So they go to see Dr. Aaron Blaisdell.
Wow, I didn't get his name, but I did think he looked a bit like a bird. He also starts making bird noises the first time we see him.
Yeah,
He's
does.
Like,
and he was a bit crazy.
He was a crazy guy.
But they talking about the plan is to get a pigeon and put it in the bomb.
Yeah.
To guide it.
Yeah.
To blow up like a boat.
Yeah.
Pigeons are quite easy to train. Pigeons were used a hell of a lot in World War II.
Yeah, like
there's
carrier
also
pigeons and stuff.
that film with
Valiant
with
I
Ewan
saw that
McGregor,
in the cinema.
which, do you know what? It's quite fun. I think I watched it last year.
Okay, no, I saw it when I was a child.
I think I did see it as a child, and then
is there like a hawk, like a German hawk?
Yeah,
that chases them around.
But it's quite fun. Animal World War II film, but yeah, pigeons can be trained. Pigeons were used a lot.
I mean,
in World War II.
They show some of it. I don't think all of their tests in this are particularly scientific, but also okay. So they basically talk about training pigeons, and the association with food and visual stimulus is basically where they go.
Yeah,
into,
they said it's a 3-step plan.
Yeah,
which is get the pigeons to do some target practice. They peck on the warships. Battle condition trainings, they're not scared.
Yeah, like noises and stuff.
And design of the bomb, which is going to have like 3 pigeons.
Yeah, so they're all controlled, and there's like a rudder, and there's like bits that are moving around and stuff. But the thing is, right, they wouldn't have had touch screens in World War II, so I guess they just train them to tap left or right or something.
Yeah, I don't know.
And up and down, because when they show it in this, it's all touch screen stuff with the image on there.
So this is Kari. She does lots of testing with pigeons where you got a pigeon in a box and the pigeon realizes if you tap like a target on a screen, then food comes out of the bottom.
Yeah.
So after a while, they train this pigeon so it can consistently tap on the target.
It's not super clear how it's working because there's a target and then there's like a thing behind it, but it's this bit's just a target, isn't it? Yeah.
And it got an official sanction. So to test it, they do a test run with a drone.
Yeah.
So they've got this pigeon in this box and it's synced up to this drone.
Yeah.
And they basically want the pigeon to drive the drone through a target, through a ring to a target. And it works pretty well.
Yeah, the only thing I would say is they kind of start it right in front of the hoop and it just kind of just goes forward.
Yeah.
It does work.
I guess that's how guided missiles work anyway.
Yeah, but surely there needs to be some level of guidance. Otherwise, they're just shooting a missile straight ahead, aren't they? I suppose it's accounting for like wind and stuff. But yeah, either way, it kind of seems to correct a little bit and it goes through the hoop and then we cut just before it bashes the drone into it, but it gets close enough that you could consider it like a success. And it's like, yeah, fair enough.
I thought it was quite fun, this one.
It is quite fun. I thought it was a bit silly, but
it's a bit silly, but it's because of the use of pigeons. It's definitely something I could see them.
It feels, and that's the thing when it talks about like the stats of it. Like I don't know, well, it says so. It's 1 year and 3 months they did it for.
Yeah.
So a fair amount of time there for the war. They say 9 out of 10 effectiveness.
Yeah, which may be a little high, but
considering they didn't actually use it,
but because they did a test, Kari did a test, I can see why they've given it a 9 out of 10.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, so it's not like perfect, but 9 out of 10, and they say 8 out of 10 craziness,
which I think is a bit high.
I think if the bat bomb is 7 out of 10, this is definitely lower than that.
Considering pigeons were used,
this is probably like 5 out of 10.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
So that's that. The next one we get Grant Imahara. Talking about the Great Panjandrum. I wrote
Penjandrum, but they say it in a couple of different. We do see it on screen at one point, but I didn't write it down.
Yeah,
it's like it's something that they want to use on the Normandy beaches. It's like a landing device.
Yeah, it's like a big wheel,
like a Ferris wheel, like a Catherine wheel kind of.
With fireworks attached to the wheel, so it goes forward,
propels it forward, and then when it lands up on the Atlantic wall, it's supposed to blow up and cause a hole.
Yeah,
it's a breaching device, isn't it? Basically?
Yeah, essentially. Explodes inside, rockets move. Yeah. It says it was developed by the Department of Miscellaneous Weapons Development.
Yeah.
Is that made up?
Feels made up. Yeah. And they have Grant and Tory doing their best British accents.
Oh,
and they doesn't take them long before they go, oh, let's have some tea.
Yeah, like
I mean, Grant's isn't bad. He's my favorite out of the three.
Oh, he's
easily.
Head and shoulders above the other two.
He's the guy keeps calling him Brain. He's like, so Brain, what have you got there? Which is funny because we talked about Brain not 2 episodes ago.
Yes, with his friend Pinky.
Yeah.
We got Brian Ford back. This is the bit where he came up saying biologist and author, and I was like, why the fuck am I listening to this guy? He seems like a very nice guy. And he's done his research. Nice, he knows what he's talking about, but he's not a World War II expert.
He's not who they maybe should have got. But maybe he's the only person that both wanted to and had written a book about this.
Yeah. He talks about how they tested it on an open beach, like.
Yeah, it was Westward Ho, they say.
Yeah, and it's like there's people just on the beach and they're testing this.
I've written Brian's back.
But all the tests that kept going off course
because it's fireworks. It's not very and it's sandy. And the thing is as well that they don't talk about is, you mentioned Saving Private Ryan earlier. There's like siege defenses all the way along the beach. It's not an open beach.
Yeah.
There's trenches, there's those big tic-tac-toe things, whatever they're called.
Yeah, there's big holes for where bombs have landed and grenades.
Like a thing, in principle, a thing that rolls up and explodes is a great idea, but in practice, it's not
going to work.
No.
There's also, on the Normandy beaches, there's thousands and thousands of people.
Yeah. And if there's explosives in this thing, you shoot it and it goes up.
At first, when it showed it going up the beach, it was coming out the water. I thought it was going to be like a cover device for soldiers. So because it's spraying water up everywhere, they run in behind so they can't be seen by the German soldiers.
Yeah.
But it's not that.
No. And they say basically they do loads of different variations, and they add like a third wheel. Did they say? Oh yeah, because it's 2 wheels on the side.
Yeah, I was wondering when it kept going, of course, why they didn't put stabilizers on it.
Yeah, it wouldn't have been hard, would it? And you would have thought somebody would have thought about it. But the thing they say about the open beach, they're like, there was just people on the beach just watching it, so it wasn't very secret. And it's like, why the fuck do they do that then?
At one point, you get a dog running next to it.
Yeah, they're like, this one was really successful in scaring a dog. Wow.
Yeah, and they did one final test before D-Day, and it didn't work, so they gave up because
maybe this was like the cardboard tank situation, and it was just so that the Axis would think that there was going to be some big wheels coming along. So they put up their big ramps, and in reality,
the ramps helped protect the soldiers.
It's all 4-dimensional. Oh god damn it! Chess.
Right, that's what you're going for.
4D chess.
So yeah, it lasted for 6 months, which is kind of longer than I thought it would.
Yeah.
How well it worked, 2 out of 10.
Yeah,
probably fair.
It's probably fair, yeah.
How crazy was it? 9 out of 10.
No,
it's not that crazy.
6 maybe.
It's basically a like personless exploding like tank.
Yeah.
Like it's not that. They
would have been better off if they built like a drone. I know that drones are like modern, but like build something that's mechanical, that's controllable. Even with a big wire that they control it and they drive up a bomb.
Or how about this crazy idea? From the boats, they shoot missiles at the walls.
Yeah, I mean, I think
what they did anyway.
Yeah.
It had mixed success, but
I think the idea was the landing crafts had to, come in from, but naval ships
bombing run first. Yeah. But yeah. So that's that one. And then we move on to...
Oh, they do... No, that's the next one. Don't worry. Continue.
They're talking about how something they had to work with World War II was airdropping battle supplies.
Mm-hmm.
And they wanted to come up a way to do it without parachutes.
Yeah.
Because lots of ones with parachutes didn't reach the target. They could get blown off target. They could miss. They could get shot down.
That's it.
So they want to strap rockets onto it.
Yeah, what is it called? Like Hajal or something like that.
A hijal, yeah.
Hajal, yeah. But yeah, it's basically like you see some footage of it or the tests and stuff, but the example is like a crate or a Jeep or whatever, and it drops down. It's got a platform attached to the bottom, as you would have with like a parachute drop. And when it reaches a certain point, it's like reverse thrust. It's like an Iron Man kind of situation.
It's got a thing dangling off the bottom of it, and when it hits the ground, it ignites the rocket, so it has like a slower landing.
Yeah.
And it's quite cool, but in practice, it didn't really work. The rockets are hard to time, or it'd blow up the cargo.
There's an animation of a little guy doing it, and it looks cool in the animation, obviously. And then we see some archival footage of tests.
Yeah.
And it just fucks up, basically.
The blow up. Rocket's too powerful.
Yeah, it like hits the crane that it was dropped off and stuff like that. And Kari's just like, oh, that's so awesome.
Yeah, she gets so...
She's very excitable, isn't she?
But yeah, she's going to build her own.
Yeah.
And she's done some testing. She builds like a little mini one with a little toy Jeep on it.
Yeah, with like little eggs in it. Yeah.
And they do various tests, and like the plumb bob, they call it, the dangling thing, is fairly unreliable. The rockets are unreliable. First the toy crashes and the rocket goes off.
Yeah.
Then only half the rockets go off, and it spins out of control. And then they like, let's try a rocket in the middle. It's better, but it's still not great.
I mean, this one here. So this is the one that carries on throughout, and she comes back to it later because apparently the tension of this was just too much to bear, and we just had to kind of drag it out a bit. But at this point, I'm like, I don't believe that she can somehow do better than the scientists in World War II with this. Like, she's trying to prove that you can do it when they've fundamentally showed that it's an unreliable thing to do.
She's also
she's using like shit materials.
I think she's trying to prove that they could do it with their materials, and it's like, Kari, they tried.
They tried that already.
Like maybe try it with modern stuff. Maybe have like sensors on the bottom.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm thinking. She tries to recreate. So it's the same as what they did with you mentioned the balloon out of Eastern Germany. They do that because they know it worked, and they try and recreate using the same materials.
Which, is
with
quite
this one,
cool.
we know it didn't work. So she goes, I mean, I can do better because I'm in the modern day and I'm on a TV show. No, like fundamentally, it's not.
And Kari, I don't want to break this to you, but if you were around in World War II, I don't think you'd be smart enough to be a top scientist working on this project.
Wow. You're just like the higher ups at the Allied forces, always, putting American women down and not letting them have their place.
I didn't mention at all that she was American or a woman. I'm just saying she's not as smart as the top scientist of World War II, and I don't think that's particularly controversial.
And they were all men and not American. They were all German men.
Oh no, they're the ones that built the rockets to go to the moon.
Sorry, no, I'm thinking of the next 10 years after that. There you go.
But yeah, she's going to come back to that.
Yes, and we go to some French saboteurs.
Yeah, and they made a secret weapon with American intelligence.
Yeah, they're like, these French guys, they needed to do something. So luckily, they had an American intelligence agent to give them some stuff.
It made me laugh. Because as soon as it said American intelligence, the old joke about American intelligence in like World War II is that it's barely non-existent.
Yes, it's like military intelligence is a oxymoron. Palindrome.
Yeah, I remember it was some interview of some like American Marine. And I know it's a British Marine who'd been working with the Americans, and they say that like what makes the American Marines is so powerful and so strong is that they don't know what they're doing, so the enemy can't figure out what they're doing. So it just makes them really hard to figure out.
Wow. I mean, the fact you admitted it takes some, I wouldn't say intelligence, but some self-awareness at least.
Yeah. But for this, they've basically made lethal perfume.
Yeah.
From what we see at the start.
We see a perfume bottle that's being passed over in like a shady back alley deal. And you're like, shit, what's this going to be? Then like a Nazi high-ranking officer's like going to a cafe, and there's like a poor like French woman there who's like scared that she's serving them. And there's this shady looking like cool saboteur French resistance guy at the other table. And he's like, I'm going to sort this out. And as they're like getting sat at the table, the two Nazis, he like sneaks around really obviously behind like a plant pot.
Yeah.
And he like sprays some stuff like on their butts. And then they start going, oh, it's so smelly. And then they all have to just leave the cafe.
And then they start arguing about who did it.
Yeah.
And they're like, this makes so like, oh yeah, the idea is that it caused confusion and panic, and it was called the Who Me.
I thought it was called the Poo Me.
No, who like
no, I know.
Who Me?
I did think it was called Poo Me.
It made me laugh, and I was like, when I laughed a bit when they're talking about American intelligence, it is very American intelligence to make a stink bomb.
They even say it's almost like it was made by a school child.
Yeah.
And then it's so bad that they're like throwing up, and then some like lower ranking Nazis come past and they're like, whoa, and it's like morale and disrespect and all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it's very, very stupid. And the way they prove it is incredibly American as well, isn't it?
Yeah. So like Tory has like made
he's got like a chemist with him.
He's got a chemist called Anya Taylor, and he's making this stick bomb, and they're using different ingredients like feces and skunk
it's like all the
stuff.
different chemicals from naturally occurring like bad smells basically.
And
they say they're following the same recipe that was supposedly used.
And whilst they're doing that, Tory has invited Kari and Grant to a shooting range because why not?
I noticed that they clearly all know how to shoot, because there's certain ways of them holding the butts of the guns that I'm like, I haven't seen that before, but I'm also not familiar with how you should shoot in a shooting range. I've seen films, I haven't seen people. So it's like these guys, I mean, I guess they had to shoot a lot of guns on Mythbusters probably, but
but
still,
it seems like something they do in their spare
time.
They're
having a great time.
And their accuracy is pretty good.
Pretty
good,
yeah.
But then he's made this stink bomb, and then he's like, right, we've got your targets, you're pretty good. Now let's do it again. And he opens a little jar with this stink bomb on each one of their tables.
Yeah.
And they try shooting with pistols first and then rifles.
Yeah.
And they're having a terrible time of it. Like they're proper gagging, their eyes are watering.
Yeah, it's very kind of cut together with the worst reactions, but at the same time, it does clearly hamper their ability to like accurately shoot.
We see the results, and they have like one or two that are fairly close, but they're mostly.
I think Kari shot one bullet the whole time. So it's like, I don't like smell.
Yeah, but maybe it's also, they smell so bad it was hard to
shoot. That's
but that's that they said this lasted for 2 weeks.
Yes.
Maybe they mentioned the idea to the French resistance. They said no.
They said pooey to that.
Who do you think I am? Pepe Le Pew?
Yeah.
How well would it work? 5 out of 10?
Disagree.
Because it's kind of.
It's
effective when they're shooting the rifles, but the dramatization they have to show it is just two Nazis at a restaurant in France.
I think
they're just gonna leave
as like a chemical weapon. It makes a lot of sense. And they mention later, like, the US are even using this, like, thinking about using it now, which I feel like breaches some sort of.
That's what I was thinking.
Because it's a chemical weapon.
It's a chemical weapon.
But yeah, I mean, I would say that it's higher than 5 out of 10, because in the right situation, it is effective. But I suppose in the cafe spraying the butts way, if you're going to do that, you might as well just shoot them in the butt,
Well, yeah, I was thinking like it can be more effective, but not in the way they show it in the dramatization.
Kari says, "What is this? A gun farty party?" That's not like that's not a joke or a reference that I'm missing.
No, that's just because farts are funny.
If gun rhymed with farty party, I would find that funny. But just say farty party. What is this? A gun farty? It's like a normal farty party isn't a thing. What is this? Some sort of gun farty party?
And yeah, they say how crazy is this? 3 out of 10. Which I mean, it's just a chemical weapon. It's just a shit.
It's just a stink bomb. It's just a stink bomb. Yeah. It's just a stink bomb. Yeah.
So yeah, then they go back to the Hejil, the dropping cargo thing, which is the final one.
And they not skipped 2, but now she's Kari's doing a full size version.
Yeah, gonna build a big one, and they've got like is it an actual Jeep they've got on there? Or
no, they
cargo?
put like they've got like a crate. It's got like black powder explosive, so if it drops too violently, it will blow up.
It's got fire. They've got big fireworks strapped to it essentially. And they've built like a big platform, and they've got a big crane. And they're going to test it essentially. So the whole thing they need to get right is, she's very excited about this, is the moment it happens and getting all the rockets right. So they try it and it doesn't go well.
The first time it just doesn't go off at all, does it? So or maybe after it lands it goes off a bit. Yeah, and she runs over and is putting it out with a fire extinguisher, which seems unsafe because I guess it's not actually explosive.
Probably for the shot.
Probably for the shot, yeah. But they reset and they do another one, and it works temporarily.
It stops the fall for like a second, and it kind of hovers in the air.
Yeah. But
then it just kind of hovers for a bit and then runs out of fuel and
then
crashes.
The crash is too big, so she's like, yeah, and
like,
she counts it as
a
win. Yeah, it's like, no, you should have done a third. I guess they didn't have the budget.
They said they're losing sunlight.
Well, yeah, so, good excuse. Do it earlier.
Yeah, maybe they should have done it at 10 in the morning.
There's a bit where she's like, we're at the Navajo Desert. I love it. You can do crazy stuff here. It's like, yeah, you probably spent a lot of your life here.
She's like the guy in Tremors, Cletus, Doc Brown. So yeah, they said how long was 2 years and 7 months.
Yeah, which is a fair amount. Is that the longest one? Maybe.
Maybe.
Just over, yeah.
How well did it work? 1 out of 10, because it just went bang.
Boom.
They make a big point, like rockets are notoriously hard to time perfectly because they are rockets. And then how crazy was it? They say 4 out of 10 because they then explain how similar technology was used landing Curiosity on Mars.
Rovers.
Which it's pretty cool that they later on did stuff with it. And
it's the only one I think that actually goes on to do anything. So in that sense, a 4 out of 10 makes sense. I think you could probably even go lower because it's not really that outlandish. It's just, I guess for World War II, it's kind of like, backfiring rockets.
And I guess you could, well, for World War II, you can't make it work, say how well it worked any better.
No.
But later on, it worked pretty darn well. So that's all the projects and all the crazy weapons they've talked about, and then they put them. So they calculate the scores for each one and have them ranked.
Yes, they do from least. Is it? Well, they don't even really say it's least crazy. It's just the rankings.
Yeah.
Whereas I think when we do our rankings, it makes sense to kind of lean on the craziness of it because that's the whole point of it.
Yeah.
So their ones. They have the stink bomb at number 6.
Yep. In number 5, they have Hitler being a woman.
I think it's her Hitler as Hitler. Mrs. Hitler makes as much sense.
Yep. Number 4 is the Hagil.
Yeah, rocket drop.
Which, makes sense.
They have like the Catherine Wheel style thing at number 4.
Number 3.
3, I was doing it the wrong way around.
Panjandrum. 2 is the Bat Bomb. And then number 1.
Pigeon Kamikazes.
Pigeon Project.
Pigeon Project.
Yeah, I hadn't actually thought about
I've written down a ranking here.
Okay, so from least crazy, I think the least crazy for me is probably the Hitler one.
I think the rocket drop one is probably least crazy.
Actually,
just because it's
the least crazy. Because it is just, it kind of makes sense. There's a few.
I think like the Catherine Wheel and the stink bomb and the Mrs. Hitler, I think, are all kind of in the middle.
Yeah, so they've got like the Hagil, the Panjandrum, the Bat Bomb and the Pigeon things are kind of like, oh, we've got this stuff and we're going to change it to make it something else. So it's quite cool. And then you've got like the Her Hitler and the Stink Bomb, which are just like silly ideas.
That's what I mean. So I think the Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think in terms of, I think the Panjandrum, I think isn't that crazy because it's.
Yeah, I agree.
So I would have said that's probably next
Yeah.
because you can see the logic there. It's not like an illogical thing to do.
Yeah, I'll agree
in
that. We'll have
sense.
that in fourth spot.
Fourth spot.
So what have we got left for the top?
So we've got Stink Bomb, Her Hitler, Pigeons, and Bat Bomb.
Okay. So Panjandrum.
So I mean, if you think of the stink bomb as like a chemical weapon, then it can't be next really. So I would say it would have to be the Mrs. Hitler one, probably the Her Hitler.
Yeah,
because it's like it's just effectively poisoning. So it's not that crazy.
Yeah,
they make it out like if you didn't see all the imagery of the Hitler with boobs, and it was just like we're going to disrupt his hormones. I mean, you could put that even before, like even lower down.
And it's kind of because. Like I know we're just doing crazy, but like it was a non-idea that was never going to work, and they never did anything with. Like, is it even worth like being in this episode kind of thing?
It's just like So I guess in that sense, yeah. So the Her Hitler, Mrs. Hitler is fourth.
So we've got the what?
I think the Stink Bomb probably goes next because it's pigeon or bat otherwise.
Yeah, Stink Bomb because stink bombs exist.
Stink bombs exist. I think it's a bit of a toss-up between that and the Mrs. Hitler because they're kind of just both different like chemical weapons in a way.
So we've got the same top two as them. I think they've gone pigeon first. I think the bat bomb's
much more crazy, yeah.
Because pigeons were used and bats is just like some fucking wild idea of let's get
and they
bats.
do have like a little infographic thing where the bats will come out and land in their Japanese rooftops.
Yeah.
And the idea of like a plague of bats that then sets it on fire is kind of terrifying and also so like wild and outlandish that it's like. And the fact as well that some of the bats may have still been flying and there'd just be like a cloud of flying, burning bats with just, or, exploding bats.
Yeah, like the pigeon project I thought was quite cool and these are pigeons, but it's not as crazy as bats.
Definitely,
And so that's our rankings and their rankings fairly similar, more similar than they have been in the previous two episodes. Yeah.
I mean, a lot of them are just a bit like, aren't they? Yeah. So what did you think overall of the episodes?
Like the ideas are fun. I think they could choose better projects, but like it's fairly interesting. The interesting ones are fairly interesting.
Yeah, I think the coverage of them is what's lacking because if they didn't pitch it as like we're gonna test them out, and it was just like there's plenty of documentaries. There's things like Explained and stuff like that, which are basically infographics with a voiceover. If it was those, I would have been like, this is great. It's some weird idea.
If it was like they each pick one and do them properly, test them properly. Each get like
they give Tory estrogen for a year and see how angry he is at the end.
Yeah.
Probably very angry that they changed his chemical balances.
But yeah, like if they actually, so they tend to do one properly each episode.
Yeah, one like little mini one like the pigeon thing, and then one that they cut into two parts for no reason.
Yeah, but even if it was just one, so like crazy World War II weapons, talked about a couple, but the one we're talking about today is we're gonna try and create a bat bomb or something.
Yeah. And if they cut that effectively throughout, rather than just have it in two like sloppy parts in the middle, and we're coming back to this big project like in Mythbusters where they do like a big thing. Yeah, fair enough. But we don't know going in which one is going to be really recreated, apart from in a couple of little bits at the start.
Yeah,
it's the editing and the pacing of the episode is really kind of flawed.
Kari's really annoying. Tory's quite annoying. Grant's okay.
Yeah, he doesn't get much play in this, unfortunately.
No, he's always the kind of level-headed one of the three. The other two always try to have the biggest reaction and the most they're like, you get those really shitty YouTube thumbnails.
Yes,
They are like the personification of those YouTube thumbnails.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if both of them have very successful YouTube accounts. To be honest.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I'm just searching on YouTube now what she could go for.
Tori Balici.
She's got a thing called. No, that's something else.
I think as well, another criticism of them. I feel like when they sit in that little room and discuss it, I feel like so many of those conversations are so clearly scripted when they're trying not to be. Like they're back and forth. Instead of having a discussion, they're they've got scripts, and it's like seems like just actually talk about it. What are your actual thoughts? Like, don't just be like, wow, that was amazing. Yeah, here's a shit joke. Oh yeah, but that was cool. Like,
it feels like the worst of kind of like a reality TV kind of thing. Not like a slightly educational reality TV thing.
Yeah.
It's I think it's not the kind of thing that either of us really enjoy. So that's kind of why we don't really enjoy this.
Don't get me wrong, I'm sure there is people out here that do really like this, and fair play. I can understand why.
Yeah.
I just find it quite annoying. And the setup, as we said, if it was reworked, it could be really good.
Absolutely, yeah.
Like it's not too dissimilar to Brainiac. Do you remember with what was it, John?
I can't remember. Yeah, Brainiac. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
it was just like little science experiments.
Brainiac science abuse. Yeah. I liked that.
John, his surname was something silly, some food or something.
John Tickle.
John Tickle, that was it.
Yes.
And they later it's
and
Richard Hammond.
Yeah.
But that was a fun little like science show where they did actual experiments.
Yeah, I used to really like that actually. Yeah.
And like if this was more like that, it would probably be better. Like maybe just make Brainiac again. Bring back Brainiac.
Vic Reeves was on it for a while.
Oh yeah, he was.
Towards the end, it looks like
they should bring it back and call it Project Brainiac.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, have you got anything else on
no,
this?
I haven't. No. What do you think ratings wise for this episode?
It's hard to rate because like the content's pretty good, but like the setup and people aren't as good.
Of it,
I do find myself quite intrigued by it, so it can't be a bad rating because I am like intrigued about what they're talking about. It's like those really poorly made like World War II documentaries that you watch because it's interesting, but it's actually really badly made. I'm gonna. Do you know what? Actually, no, you go first.
I'm gonna go 6 out of 10.
I was gonna say that, but I was like, I don't want to just sit on a 6. No, and I was like, maybe I'll go for a 5. Oh, maybe I'll go for a 7.
I can't go for a 7, and I think 5 is slightly too harsh for what it is. So 6 works.
Yeah,
for me,
I think I'm gonna have to agree with you because I could go down to a 5, but actually some of the stuff is quite fun and quite cool. Can't go up to a 7 because the setup and Kari and Tory. So I think I'll agree with you on a 6 there.
Nice.
Which then means we're on to our next segment of the podcast, which is called
Personal Projects.
Personal Projects.
That little at the end is so important.
It's so important. It's the snakes that we let loose at the start of the segment. Yeah,
God.
They really spur us on to not take too long on personal projects.
All these snakes, they're moving quickly today.
We've got lots to cover.
That could be a great like code word if it's a particularly long episode and we need to kind of get to the end. We're like, oh, the snakes are looking lively today, and we'll be like, I know what you mean.
Well, the snakes are moving a little bit slowly today because we're doing pretty well for time.
So do you wanna go first?
Yeah, I mean, I'll briefly talk about a couple of the ones that I mentioned at the start. The See How They Run is Sam Rockwell and Saoirse Ronan. It's set in like
both of them people.
Yeah, it's set in like 1953 or something. It's based around the Agatha Christie play The Mousetrap, which is now like the longest running murder mystery play, or any play, I think, because it's been constantly running. And at this point, it's 100 shows in, and they're celebrating that, and they're thinking of turning it into a Hollywood film. And Adrian Brody's there, and he's like the sleazy Hollywood producer, and there's lots of behind the scenes issues, and then a murder happens. And Sam Rockwell, who is playing a British character who sounds very much like any of Johnny Depp's British characters.
Okay.
But he looks a lot like Gary Oldman as Commissioner Gordon.
Okay.
And Saoirse Ronan is like the rookie cop that's joining him. And it's a kind of farcical, kind of fun for all the family, maybe aimed at slightly older than us, but it's a good fun hour and a half film that I wouldn't have paid to see, but is on Disney Plus. So if you're ever up for a short kind of,
what was it called again?
See How They Run.
See How They Run.
And it kind of comes together quite satisfyingly, and the cast are fairly good. There's a couple of names that you probably, or a couple of faces you probably recognise. I don't know the names because they're not that good. But it's a couple of, it's mostly British actors that you'd kind of recognise. But yeah, I had fun with that. I watched that a couple of weeks ago, and I've been keeping that in the old holster, ready to go. What did you say you'd watch?
Troll.
Troll, yes. So I'm very intrigued by
It's
this.
a Norwegian Netflix film.
Yeah, because there was that Troll Hunter, which was a couple of years
it's not.
back.
I think this came out a couple of weeks ago, and I watched it.
I think even maybe less than that.
Yeah, because I turned up. I saw the release date, and I was like, "Oh, it literally came out a couple of days ago."
Okay, cool.
But yeah, it's Norwegian, so I watched it subtitled. It has the option to watch it dubbed, but
sometimes
it seems a bit off. But it's quite fun. It's got like the basic premise of like a kaiju movie. So this troll's like 50 foot tall, but it's very mixed in with like Norse folklore.
Okay, yeah.
So it starts with like this guy talking about how there's a mountain range called Troll Mountains, and the folklore is that some trolls stayed out too late drunk, and then the sun came up and they froze, and that's why the mountains look like trolls. But then there's this, suddenly they're mining or something, and something goes off, and there's a big troll.
So it's not a world in which trolls already exist.
No. But there's just a folklore.
They might have done.
And then there's kind of the break in what is real and what is folklore. What can we figure out?
So does it play on a little bit of like New Godzilla kind of thing of like modern world thing?
Kind of. And a lot of it is like, and like particularly towards the climax where it's like going to Oslo, and it's like there's a big monster walking through.
Okay. Is it like, can we use the folklore to defeat it kind of thing? Is that where it goes? Cool.
And like what's it on? And then it's based around this paleontologist and little team that get together. A lot of it is those classic kaiju
archetypes.
Hits. I like the Norse folklore being put in there as well, and it's quite fun. Like as it gets towards the end, it gets a bit like like
can see where it's going.
This is what they're doing.
Is it quite visually good?
Yeah,
you can tell we're a film podcast. Can't we?
But like, it's because when it first happens, she goes to like the government, and they don't know what's going on. They think it might be like a big hole or something, a gas pocket or something. But then they get some footage, and she's like, "That looks like a humanoid thing."
That's the troll, right?
And then you see it later on, and it does look good. It's very like rocky.
I've seen the thumbnails and stuff that come up on Netflix. It looks kind of as you'd expect, like a big trollish.
And it is huge. It's like 50 feet or something. And it's got a cool thing where like they lose track of it sometimes because it's just like laying down in like against like a cliff or something.
That's fun,
But it's good fun. Towards the end, it gets a bit okay, and there's a couple of bits that are a bit silly towards the end.
Okay,
but overall, I was like, you know what, this is good fun. Like I like kaiju films, and adding in the kind of Norse folklore, and it is very Norwegian. I was like, this is good fun. I recommend.
Cool. I would really like to watch it.
I think it was like an hour 45 or something.
Perfect.
So
that's perfect.
Yeah, it was
cool. No, I will watch it. I don't know when I'll watch it because I've got a couple of busy days. Maybe Sunday night I'll watch it. So,
What else have you got?
So I went to see The Menu on Tuesday night. I went to the
what
cinema.
restaurant were you at?
Well, the menu in the film, the Western in the film. Jonathan Ross is here as well.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say that.
Oh God, I watched a clip of Jonathan Ross very blatantly saying the N-words.
I think I've also seen that clip.
Well,
where he's asking why it's like okay for black people to say it, and he's not.
And it's just like,
don't do that, Jonathan Ross.
No.
If his career was just starting, it would soon be over.
I mean, it's not really. He's still on ITV, I think. It's the old Channel 5 or so. But it's The Menu, which is in cinemas now. Anya Taylor-Joy, as I said, and Nicholas Hoult. They are a couple. It's very kind of mysterious. You don't get much background, and you find out a lot about the characters as you go on. Best films kind of like that, I'd say.
Yeah.
they have tickets to this prestigious menu tasting experience on a island off the coast of America somewhere, and the head chef is Ralph Fiennes, who people know from all sorts of things. Voldemort, God, you can tell it's the end of the podcast, can't you? Schindler's List he's in, and he's in lots of other things. What else is he in, Lewis?
He's in Grand Budapest Hotel.
He is, yeah.
He's in
The Dig. I watched a Netflix film last year.
Yeah,
wasn't very good.
What else is very fine?
But anyway, so it's very prestigious. Nicholas Hoult is a foodie. He's a bit of an unbearable kind of foodie kind of guy. He knows a lot about the little techniques that you do. He's very he's taking photos of his food all the time. Anya Taylor-Joy is his date, and she's not very bothered, and she's quite cool and kind of relaxed about it. Ralph Fiennes is this incredibly intense head chef, and you see that he's got this weird commune there where they all live and work there, and they're all incredibly dedicated to him. It's kind of cult vibes from the start, and they get a lot of the food from the land, and there's a man getting shellfish and stuff, and all the other guests are there's some Wall Street guys, Young Money kind of guys. There's a failed actor, and there's they've all got kind of dark secrets that start coming out. And as the menu progresses and you see each course and it goes into detail and it comes up on the screen what the course is, as if you're participating.
That's quite cool.
It gets more and more intense, and you kind of think, right, there's more going on here. Certain secrets about people are kind of revealed throughout, either by the staff or, as part of the menu maybe. And people start kind of being killed off in certain ways as it goes, and it gets very intense. You're
enjoying your murder mysteries at the moment.
It's good. It's really good. It's one of the better films I've seen in the cinema recently, for sure. I mean, I haven't been to cinema a lot, but I wouldn't say it's a must go out and watch. But as soon as that's on the stream, I would really recommend it. Some really good performances. Ralph Fiennes is really good. Anya Taylor-Joy is always pretty good. There's a couple of moments in this. She has a couple of slightly more emotional moments towards the end where I didn't fully buy it, but face acting wise, she's always very solid.
She's a great face actor.
She's a very good face actor. And yeah, it's quite kind of darkly funny and lots of taking the piss of foodie restaurant culture, but that's kind of part of it as well. Ralph Fiennes is kind of I've got to this point in it's almost verging on Heston Blumenthal stuff with very minimalist food, but he's kind of aware of it and he's kind of taking the piss. Yeah, it's good. There's a lot of intensity, but it's very much enjoyed it. It's kind of just a random. We had some free tickets and they were running out, and I was just to Amy, I was which of these do you want to see most? And we were let's just see that one, and it turned out to be a good choice.
Nice, cool. Yeah. I think maybe someone's talking about it, or I saw a trailer or a poster or something. It does ring a bell, and I was
it's one of those where I think I'd seen the trailer in front of something else, and it's pretty unclear what's happening.
Yeah, maybe it's before we saw Wakanda Forever.
Yeah, BP2. Yeah.
But yeah. I've also been watching a BBC reality show called The Traitors.
Right, okay. I've not heard of this, no.
Honestly, the only reason I'm watching it is I watch a load of football on BBC, so I've been getting trailers for BBC stuff.
Okay.
It's Claudia Winkleman, who I don't really like. No. But the premise is they've got 20 people and they've got to do tasks throughout a day to collect money, various things. But the twist is 3 of them are traitors.
Okay.
So at the end of each day, after they've done their little games and stuff, those 3 people meet up and choose one of the people to kill, send home.
Okay.
It's funny. The first episode starts, they have to line up in the order they think they're going to come.
Right.
And Claudia Winkleman says to the 2 people at the bottom, "Why are you at the bottom?" And they're well, we thought, let's set the standards low and we can only improve. And she was okay, you both fell. And I was cool. But
so it's pretty cutthroat. And it's
so these 3 people who nobody else knows are the traitors pick somebody, and they find out at breakfast the next day one of them just doesn't come to breakfast.
Right, okay.
And then the rest of them, including the 3 traitors, have to sit around the table and vote for who they think one of the traitors are, and then they get sent home as well. So it's a bit
like the werewolf secret.
And it's so funny because they've got their little cliques, and everybody's so bitchy to each other, and they're there's the first person who got sent home, literally it just snowballs. So at the beginning when they first met up, they like did a toast to the faithful, they call them.
Right.
And one woman didn't toast. And one of them was like, she didn't toast. And it kind of snowballed into them all thinking she was a traitor. And she was like, I didn't toast because the glass was on my right-hand side and I don't have a right arm. So it wasn't natural. And none of them... Because it snowballed so much, none of them believed her, and so she got voted out. And
he said, she said, kind of like mob mentality.
And then it's like, and people, there's this one guy who seems like a typical bit of a gym bro, but he's lovely. People start accusing him, and when they're voting, he has to leave the room because he's in tears so much. He's like, oh, there's this couple in there that don't tell anyone they're a couple. And like, because they're their little cliques, obviously nobody thinks their friends are traitors. Because they're like, they wouldn't lie to me. And they're all talking it through while the traitors are like, yeah, I think it's that person. It's really quite fun, and everyone's fucking stupid.
Yeah, well, like, they obviously pick, don't they? Like
the smallest things. Like there's this one woman in there who's like really quite ditzy, who knows she's got the right people, but for the wrong reasons. Right. Okay. And it's like they literally just one idea goes and it snowballs until
they've clearly screened their audience, like their participants.
But it's highly entertaining. Like the actual task stuff, I'm fairly indifferent to.
Okay, is it not particularly interesting stuff then? Like the tasks themselves.
Some of it. So
is it verging on kind of Taskmaster-esque stuff, or is
not
it
that crazy? One of them was they had like 3 teams on.
So are the traitors supposed to be like sabotaging by not doing as well at the tasks
because
as well?
If all 3 traitors survive to the end of the show, they collect the entire winnings between them.
Right.
So they also want money to do well and stuff.
Oh, because they pool the money with the thing. Yeah. So sorry, what tasks? Yeah.
So there was one where there was teams on the side and 3 people in this big like sheep pen, and the teams on the side had a picture of the sheep, and without explicitly saying it, they had to get the person in the middle to pick which sheep it was.
Right, okay.
That kind of thing.
Okay.
Others were they had 3 people on like a spinning Ferris wheel.
Right.
And they asked like the group at the side, like, which one of these is most likely to like lie to your face? And they pick one, and then the people on the spinning wheel pick which one of them, and if they've got it right.
Right.
So it's fairly mundane stuff there.
Yeah,
but all they're set in like a Scottish castle or something, or a castle somewhere. All the bits in that is really quite... There's this
the actual like reality side of it.
Yeah. There's this one really camp guy who gets really angry and starts accusing everyone. It's like, and this guy who like went off crying, he's like, "You were acting. You could have got an Oscar for that performance." And I was like, "Fucking hell, calm down, John." And then like some of the traitors are getting like actually upset that like people are going home and and people are getting killed.
Oh, that's quite interesting. So it's kind of playing on like not the morality of it so much, but like
it's just I keep finding it so funny that all of them assume that their friends are truthful. And it's like, that's not how this is going to work.
Just
like,
blind to that. Yeah, considering that I guess none of them are supposed to know each other going in as well, apart from like the couple or whatever.
I just got a message from Christina saying she's watching the latest episode right now.
No.
So it's on every Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday.
Oh,
so
wow.
So you get like 3 and then a week break and then 3 more, but it's been a lot. It's not the sort of thing I thought I'd get into, but as I watch it, I'm like, oh, fucking this guy.
First Drag Race, and now this. You're gonna be
it's just
you're gonna be all over the reality.
It's the people. It's just
2023 is your year for reality TV.
It's quite fun. Have you got?
Last one that I can think. Well, I started watching Archer season 13. I mentioned earlier.
I'll probably watch that at some point.
It's good. It's it feels fresher than some of the seasons have recently.
Oh, okay, that's good because they kind of run out of ideas for a bit, didn't they?
Because now they're with the agency that kind of took them over at the end, the IAA, I think they're called.
Yeah.
And there's the new guy running it, and Mallory's obviously not in it anymore because Jessica Walters died.
Yeah.
But they kind of acknowledged that because I think she did like she left a note or something, and then someone else read it out or something. Was that right?
Yeah.
Archer kind of comes to realization, I think it's the end of the first episode, that because she's not in charge anymore, he can be even more like ridiculous and uncaring, and they're all like, "What? You weren't like that before." So I guess the idea is he's going to be even more kind of wacky than before.
Yeah,
but it's fun. Yeah, it's back to kind of more classic Archer.
nice.
And there's some good stuff in it. But the film that I mentioned earlier, No Time to Die, I finally got around to watching.
Yeah,
about 4 years after it was supposed to come out.
I saw that in cinema.
It was 2021 actually, so it was
a couple of years ago.
Probably, well, that was last year.
Oh shit, yeah. I guess it makes sense that it was pre-Silver Screen Project because we probably would have covered it for that.
I can't see when it was released here, so September. So yeah, so it's almost just over a full year. I enjoyed it. I didn't really know what to expect going in. I'd kind of heard bits and pieces about, I knew this is the last Daniel Craig one. I was kind of like pretty sure I know how this is going to end, kind of thing. So none of that was a surprise, but I think other than it feeling like a little bit kind of not overstuffed, like slightly overlong, I think a lot of the like emotional sides of it, like him having the partner that comes back, and obviously going to spoilers, he's got the daughter and everything in it. I thought all that stuff was done really well, and there's some great action sequences, like the whole opening in like Italy or whatever is really good. Lots of that's what you see in trailers and stuff, and then the end scene on the island was very kind of classic James Bond, but with the kind of brutality and modern stuff of Daniel Craig. And throughout there's some good bits, but overall it was what I expected. I wasn't like a massive fan of these ones.
Overall it was good. I did enjoy it. I always felt the weakest part was the villain. Yeah, I like Rami
almost non-existent in the film, really.
Yeah, and like he's introduced and wanting to kill Spectre, and it's cool he does that. But for the rest of the film, I don't really know what his motives are.
And the fact that Blofeld comes in for like a cameo, basically. Yeah, it's
I feel like they kind of backed out of making him Dr. No. Yeah, Dr. No, classic Bond villain and on an island. It would have just made sense. But yeah, a lot of the classic Bond stuff in it I really liked.
Yeah. I think there's some really good, say action sequences. One of the scenes that's kind of a little bit less Bond-like, I think it's in Norway, in like the forests. And they're escaping, and he's got Madeline Swan. Is she called Madeline Swan?
Yeah,
and Leah Seydoux and the daughter. They go into like the dingy forest, and he's just like wrecking guys. He puts like a tripwire out and like fucks a bike up.
Yeah,
and there's the guy who's like betrayed him. He like drops the Jeep on him, and it's very like brutal Daniel Craig Bond. There is some, and the part in Cuba where Ana de Armas turns up for like one scene, like that's good, but like why was she not in it more? Like she was great.
I liked Ana de Armas in that, but she's not in it much. I liked the fact they brought back Jeffrey Wright,
Felix,
Billy Magnuson stuff.
Billy Magnuson, that's who I'm thinking of.
I like Billy Magnuson.
I really like him,
but he just seems that he's it's really good that he was like that all-American hero, but actually...
Yeah, he's like the double agent, triple agent, whatever he is in it. It was good. I'm glad I got around to watching it finally. I've been putting it up for a long... I think that is one that is like 2 hours 40 or something. And I think a good 40 minutes of that I really felt. But I enjoyed it. And I'm excited about whatever they do next. I would quite like them to do something drastically different.
Yeah, well, I think they're going to have a bit of a break.
They're doing that. What is it? The Road to 007, the project one. Project 007. No. The reality TV on Amazon. It's like a quiz or something, isn't it?
Oh, fuck.
And there's the game Project 007, which is the one that we were. We'll probably get around to it when it comes out.
Well, I'm intrigued to see who they'll cast as the next.
Yeah. I think they've got to go like mid-30s at youngest, really.
Yeah. I mean,
kind of maybe early 40s.
I think from the choices, I think one of the one of them was Richard Madden. That's what people talk about.
Henry Cavill's always in there, but I think since he did that Guy Ritchie film, I think he's kind of scratched that itch, really.
And it'd be weird if he's Superman and Bond.
Yeah, and maybe in the MCU as well.
But a lot of people have mentioned, what's his name? Regé-Jean Page from
I could totally
Bridgerton.
see that. Yeah, he's very...
Because he's got that kind of suave...
Exactly what I was going to say.
It's less brutal and Daniel Craig. The more classic suave,
more like
sexy, but can also do that kind of...
I'd really like him.
Side.
He's probably...
well, he looks about the right age that he could do this for like 15
I think
years.
he's probably early 30s. Yeah,
He's 34.
Yeah.
So he could do this. For
I've
15
only
years.
ever seen him in car advert and in Bridgerton season 1.
Yeah, Christina's been rewatching Bridgerton, and like, I'm not a huge fan, but he's.
I didn't get far with the second season because I didn't find it very interesting, and they cut out most of the sex stuff from the first one. So why watch it?
Yeah.
You know?
He was in Mortal Engines. I saw that. It wasn't
I
very
didn't
good.
see that.
He's also in the Dungeons and Dragons film that's coming out next year.
Okay, yeah, I saw a poster for that when I went to see The Menu. I think that's got a pretty good cast.
Yeah, that could
Chris
be
Pine's in that.
quite interesting.
Yeah,
it is Chris Pine.
Chris Pine's in
It's
that.
also got Hugh Grant and
yes,
Michelle Rodriguez. I wonder what sort of character she'll play.
I reckon she'll be like, she might be someone who kind of drives maybe carts, and she's a bit grumpy, and she wears overalls and has kind of oil smeared on her head.
She is front and center of the poster.
She got
looking like she's got like a spear in her hand, looking like she's about to have a fight.
Okay, not a spanner and a bomb.
Oh, it's a
round
big
her.
axe, actually.
Okay.
I don't think you can't really see there, but
Oh yeah. Who's that at the top? Is that Hugh Grant?
no, Hugh Grant's over here.
Who's that at the top? There's like a bad guy looking.
I think
guy.
it's a woman.
Okay, well, yeah, bad guy, bad girl.
It's got Justice Smith in it as well, who's in Jurassic World.
Oh yeah, Jurassic World. Yeah, Detective Pikachu.
Yeah, but maybe we'll watch Dungeons and Dragons next year.
Yeah.
But
there is a I think there might have been an old film, so we could silver screen that.
Oh, okay, cool. Cool.
That's it for me, though. Yeah. Did you catch anything
well,
else?
what I've mostly been watching the last 2 weeks is Lost. I could spend hours talking about Lost, but it's worth mentioning because that is what I've spent most of my time watching.
Okay.
I'm like halfway through season 3, which is like,
considering you've been watching a lot of football as well.
it's like 50 episodes and they're each like 45 minutes.
Hell.
But like, it is just really fucking good. And like, obviously, I've seen it all before like 7 times, but I'm just still just like,
That's so much. I think you probably watched Lost more than anyone in the world.
It's just good.
I mean, no, there'd be people who comfort watch it like literally all the time. But
Yeah.
someone who doesn't watch it constantly, that you've got to rank up there, surely.
Yeah, it's just good. Some characters. Michelle Rodriguez died recently, and I was like,
She's in that as well.
Yeah. Yeah, Michelle. There's so many people in it that like. There's so many people that have been in projects.
Yeah, no, I remember you've mentioned a couple
Clancy
before.
Brown. I mentioned last week. I'm just like, oh yeah. That's
Amy was watching an episode of Avatar: The Last Airbender, and I recognised one of those voices.
Oh,
I was like, I think
really?
that's Mr. Brown right there.
Yeah, and I always forget it's Dominic Monaghan as well, who's obviously
Who's that?
Mary in Lord
Oh
of the Rings.
yeah, of course, yeah.
And like, so I remember when I watched it when I don't think I connected it as the same person because he's gone from playing a hobbit to like a washed up British rock star.
Yeah. He's in quite a bit. I mean, I don't know if he disappears or whatever, but he's one of the mainish characters.
Yeah,
one
he
of
is.
the main
He's
cast. Yeah.
One of my favorite characters as well, and
Cool.
they all have their character arcs and. Yeah, it's
I would like
just
to
good.
watch it at some point.
On Disney Plus.
I've never watched a single episode. I remember it being really big when it came out. I remember listening to Radio 1 the day after it premiered and people being like, oh my God, there's a plane and it's on the...
Yeah,
it was a real plane. The real
I remember
plane.
it had the thing, it was like the pilot episode for that was like 10 times more expensive than any other pilot in history. Like it was, I think it was one of the first like big budget TV shows. Obviously, it followed with like Breaking Bad and Game of Thrones and stuff. But like, it's some.
Yeah, no, I would like to.
it.
I find it very hard to commit to long.
It's got like
long
quite a weird episode structure as well because like the episodes will be basically switching back in between events on the island and flashbacks
within the same episode.
So each episode will have like a character it focuses on,
and it's going both present and past.
Yeah, so like whatever they're doing on the island is relevant to something they've done in the past.
Yes.
So you
I think I would find that a little bit annoying now because it's been done since.
Yeah, but I think because I saw it when it first happened, but you slowly learn more and more about the characters and their background and how they got to where they were, and it's just it's a big cast and like you do get to. It's quite done quite well that you get to know all these characters pretty well.
I can imagine. I mean, you mentioned before about how they like pop up in each other's flashbacks. But I can imagine with a big cast over a longish series, because they're like 20 something each season probably.
Yeah, and
so
like
there's
6
enough
seasons.
time to get like complicated kind of interpersonal relationships and histories and stuff like that.
Yeah,
exactly. I
exactly.
can see it being good. Yeah, I mentioned last time you mentioned Lost Heroes. About halfway through that first season, still good. Nice to kind of have on while watching, but just kind of chilling, kind of thing. A bit like with Lost.
It's kind of with all the football, and the football kind of comes to an end today. It's nice to just sit and watch something completely unrelated, like an American drama from 15 years ago. But yeah, so that is mostly what I've been watching.
Nice.
So that brings this episode, this one in particular, not the last one, this one, to an end. If you enjoyed this and enjoyed the podcast overall, give us 5 stars on your listening thing, your app, device, platform, or however you listen to this. You can give us 5 stars.
You can put 5 thumbs up in the air and we'll know.
Yeah, but I don't think that works for the algorithm.
Oh, no, you've got to do the algorithm as well.
That'd be... I mean, I appreciate 5 thumbs up, but do the 5 stars as well.
If you can get, like, a load of friends to put their thumbs up too, it will help.
Yeah, and then also get them to give us 5 stars on there.
They put them up in the air, and then you slam them down on your phone at the point of the 5 star, and then you slam it down again to submit. You might have to press 1 before to get to the...
Well, that's why you do 5. And
yeah,
when you're hanging out with a group of friends, to take their phones, open Spotify, give us 5 stars, give it back to them,
and download the most recent episode. That's actually
and recommend it to them.
No. You have to. They can think they found it organically, and then they'll have this sense of pride and proception.
But yes, you can also contact us directly.
Yes, you can. So if you want to suggest any future projects that we cover, whether they are from pop culture or history, you can send us an email at theprojectpod@gmail.com, or you can find all our social medias in the link tree in the episode description. If you're watching on YouTube, you can just comment straight away. You can just scroll down slightly, click in that comment box and start typing away, and then press
give the video a like,
subscribe, bell icon, all that bullshit. But yeah, if you just let us know anything we should cover, we will give you a shout out if you decide to do that.
If it's worthwhile.
If it's a shit one, we will hound you on social media.
Yeah. Like that guy who said us swearing was inappropriate.
Oh, yeah. No, we didn't mention that guy. There was 2 comments on the YouTube.
It was Project Moonbase, that 50s film that we were like, this is a bit weird and sexist.
It was like, it was 2 comments that I saw like straight next to each other, but they'd obviously come in like a good 20 minutes in between each other at minimum. He was like, oh, I love this film. Like, this is like, I watched this when I was a kid. The next one, he's like, I had to turn your podcast off. It was inappropriate language. You should be more respectful. I was like, well, fuck you, dude. Like,
get fucked.
It's our fucking podcast for one thing. Also, if you like a film where women are threatened with like getting their ass smacked, like you can like go listen to fucking Jordan Peterson.
Go listen to your bloody Christian rock band.
Yeah.
And not to like 2 British guys in their 20s talking about pop culture.
I'm going to say not to like exclude all our Christian followers.
Well, I think a lot of Christians dislike Christian rock bands as well.
True, yeah. I mean, I appreciate the engagement, and I'm sure that it helped our algorithm in some way. I think you followed us too. So cheers, mate.
And you know, he's got his own interest. Leave him be. Let him do. I mean,
he picked the wrong episode to listen to. He needs to listen to our one on the old God project. You know, he didn't really say he was religious.
No.
Anyway, that's about enough.
I'm sure he's a nice man in real life.
Oh yeah, it was just very funny series of events there to see. It was like. Right, that's enough out of us. So yes, thank you for listening.
Yes, thank you for coming along to the studio. Yep, hello, all of you there.
Okay, right. See you later.
See you next week. Bye.
Bye.